Welcome to another episode of the Body and Mind Sports Show. I am your host, The Mind, and with me is my co-host, The Body. Body, welcome to the show.
Glad to be back. We're at it again.
Again, another action-packed week. Another kind of like football episode, if you will. We have both the North American type of football, and we also have the European type of football.
And a couple short wrestling blurbs.
But played in North America.
Yes, and this show will be as action-packed as a meeting between Michael Crabtree and Akeem Talib.
Which, oddly enough, will be our fight of the night.
It will be. It will be action-packed because we will throw down.
Because it was the fight of the night.
Get your hands off my chain.
Oh, yeah. Yes, my chain. I gave that to you. Give back my chain. Take that
Get
chain.
your hands off my chain.
Take that chain.
Get off my chain.
Grr. And we'll also be recapping this year's Grey Cup, 2017 Grey Cup. Was decided this past weekend, Argonauts versus the Stampeders, MLS Playoffs, and we'll end it as always with our epic and suck of the week. But before we get going on our NFL review and preview, we have
our first week late and $1 short in a while. Last week I was describing the ending to ROH, and I said that Bully Ray got attacked, and then he got up. Actually, no, he was down, and Velvet Sky and Tommy Dreamer came in the ring when the one Briscoe brother was brandishing a chair.
Yeah.
And then the other Briscoe brother came in, and he attacked Tommy Dreamer. It wasn't Bubba Ray. He was still down.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and then they proceeded to pound the tar out of Tommy Dreamer with the chair.
Nice.
Tommy Dreamer style.
That's beautiful.
It was.
I don't know why, but anytime Tommy Dreamer just gets the tar beat out of him, it just warms me inside.
Yeah, same here.
He's just, yeah.
I used to love the original ECW ones on TV for a while, and I know there was a couple of weeks there when the Impact players, Lance Storm and Just Incredible, just beat the tar out of them. It was fantastic.
Just Incredible. I always liked that name.
Same here. Isn't that just the coolest? Isn't that just the best? That's from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. That's just incredible. Those guys are awesome.
That's what it was. I always try to remember what it was. He had that tagline. Isn't that just the coolest? Isn't that just the best?
That's from Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
That's just incredible. That's funny.
The Impact players.
I love it. All right, fabulous. So, yeah, that was a week late and $1 short, because when we make a mistake, we own up to it.
A week late and $1 short.
So, now that our dirty laundry has been put out to wash, let's look at this past weekend's NFL Week 12. So we've lovingly picked a handful of games to review. Handcrafted, as always. And let's start with good old LA Clippers against Dallas, otherwise known as the Chargers. They went into Dallas and laid a whooping on the Ezekiel Elliott and was it?
There was an offensive lineman out, but it was a different offensive lineman this time because I think Smith was back, and I'm trying to remember who was one of their guards. I think.
And we're still missing linebacker.
Sean Lee's a
Sean Lee.
Loss.
There you go.
That kills their defense.
So still missing 3 pretty significant pieces. And 28-6 for the Chargers. I figured that the Chargers actually would win this game because, the Cowboys have been kind of bumbling and stumbling without Elliott.
Yeah, you called this one.
And it looked like the Chargers, lately, they seem to have gotten out of this early season funk they were in. And Phillip Rivers, sweet baby Jesus, he is he is playing at near elite quarterback status right now.
Well, they're finally playing the way I thought they would at the start of the year, to some extent. And then they made a mockery of me, and now they look like they're coming around to look like that. They may be the real threat in the AFC West right now.
That's the thing, because I know when we're looking at these teams, well, this division especially, because, you had called this the group of death, because we actually thought this was going to be a really good, tightly contested division. Turns out it is, but for the wrong reasons. All
Yeah.
teams suck in this division. We thought all teams are going to be world beaters in this division.
And now the world's just beating them unmercifully. Except for the Clippers.
Yeah, they're all being beaten with an ugly stick.
Yes.
But, the Clippers, though, I know after last season, we thought that their defense was actually showing like some good progress, and we thought that this year their defense would be such a nice complement to Phillip Rivers and the rest of the offense, and that this team was primed to actually make a significant challenge to the top. Mm-hmm. And it looks like over the last, 3 weeks at least, that the defense is now finally starting to play the way we thought they could.
Yeah, they may get in there and run away with this thing.
All right, now they're my pick to win this division.
Hard for me to argue that.
So that's that one. Carolina and the Jets.
Jets lose another close one late.
No Benjamin, no problem?
Oh, man. An amazing thing I saw when I was watching the game this weekend, because I remember a couple of weeks ago we were talking about the Benjamin trade and we couldn't figure out, neither could anyone else, apparently. Until I saw this interesting graphic and stat that came up. So, with Benjamin in the lineup before the trade, they were Carolina's 18-21-1 when he's in the lineup. After this Sunday, without Benjamin, because in games where he's injured, now not having him anymore since the trade, they're 18-1 without, including the last 3 since they've traded him.
That's an incredible statistic. So they're undefeated?
One loss. One loss.
And
And undefeated since the trade, yeah. But one loss in 19 games.
In 19 games. That is so insane. We were talking about this. Like, is this another case of Drew Brees and Jimmy Graham, that Cam Newton was just focusing so much on Benjamin that he forgot about every other receiver?
I wonder about that, because I know I mentioned this with Brees a few years ago, and we talked about, before we had this show.
Yeah.
And I'd bring it up to other people, and they'd look at me like I was out of my mind. And I thought Brees looked at Graham too much. Like, he's still hitting other receivers, but I noticed, Brees has always been a guy to distribute the ball pretty equally. Mm-hmm. But when I remember when he was in San Diego, he was big on Antonio Gates, but he had to be. They didn't have much for weapons then.
Yeah.
When he got to New Orleans, he started finding everyone. Then once they got Jimmy Graham, he started hooking up with Graham a lot. And I noticed in games where Graham got shut down, Brees would get shut down. You'd think he'd make everyone pay with Graham taken out, but it seemed like he fell in love with going to Graham again.
Right.
And then when they traded him a couple years ago, both you and I thought that was a good move.
Yep.
A lot of people thought it would hurt Brees. I thought, no, he won't really drop off without Graham. If anything, now it's who'd you take away? He's hitting everyone again.
That's right.
And that's been the case. And you brought the case with Newton. Could this be the same thing? And maybe it is. Maybe you looked at Benjamin too much.
That's the thing, because on the surface, when I think of Kelvin Benjamin, what is he, 6'6"? He runs, he's crazy fast. I can't remember, he's 4 something over the 40.
Yeah, he's got pretty good speed, yeah.
But he's amazing speed for somebody that big. Mm-hmm. And, when you're that tall, you're also going to jump pretty well. So, you'd think that physically he has every attribute you need to be a phenomenal receiver. But in this case, just like Ty Dillinger, the numbers don't lie. That's a perfect 10, by the way, for all of you out there.
But not such a perfect 10 for the Panthers when Benjamin was in their lineup.
Yeah, but with the exception of the one blemish, it's been a perfect 10 ever since he left.
Yeah.
That is madness. And
3-0 since he left, perfect since then, and almost perfect when he'd be hurt.
And Buffalo, it must be coincidence, but Buffalo has been bumbling ever since they got him.
Yeah, I think that is coincidence.
It should be, but
because he didn't trade the run stuffer and he didn't bench the quarterback.
That's the thing. There's all these.
Because the quarterback doesn't stop the run.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, so you have to bench him. But you almost got to wonder, though, just like, at casinos, they talk about somebody being a cooler. There's certain people that just have this aura of bad luck. And because I know, I don't know if they still do this to this day, but I know in the past, casino managers firmly believe that there are people in this world who just had an aura of bad luck around them, and they would literally hire these people and then send them to near the big game tables so that they would spread bad luck, so all the whatchamacallem, all the whales and whatnot who had all the big money would actually start losing.
I never knew that. I knew what a cooler was, but I never knew that they were actually physically hired.
Like actual physical, real people, yeah.
Because I actually believe in that, because there was a time, years ago, I was playing more pro line before I had my account, and when I work in warehouses and we talked about bets.
Yeah.
And there was 1 or 2 guys that were so hard luck that me and this other guy wouldn't even tell them our picks because we didn't want them taking our picks on their ticket.
Yeah.
Thinking, even though it adds no effect, yeah, if they take our picks, we're done.
The idea of the cooler, and I'm almost wondering, like, is this what Kelvin Benjamin is? Is he a cooler
Like
somehow?
he's just walking around with a cloud over his head on a sunny day.
Yeah, like I don't know.
He doesn't even need to take a shower. He just has to reach up and get the cloud going.
Yeah, just like, squeeze the cloud and a shower happens.
Fresh and clean.
You got to wonder, like, yeah, it could be just dumb luck, but I don't know. It's like, so we'll be on the lookout for this. Is he a cooler? Is Kelvin Benjamin a cooler? Speaking of cool, Buffalo and Kansas City Chefs. Are the chefs cooked?
The chefs appear to be cooked.
16-10 for the Bills.
I think this talk has even come in when the start is it Mahomes at rookie quarterback. So now I think there's 3-4 weeks ago there was talk of Alex Smith for MVP. Now slowly, I think some people are talking when do they bench Alex Smith. Wow, how quick it turns in this world.
Man.
The Bills.
Better than a soap opera.
Yes. And as for the Bills, hey, congratulations. You went and won in KC. Somebody had to win that game, I guess. But the Chiefs, obviously in trouble. And I have no problem with that being a Raider fan.
Yeah, obviously. That's the thing. The Chefs are now 6-6. And oddly enough, the Bills are also 6-6. Are these teams playing like they're a 500 team?
In different ways, because Buffalo's up and down, and the Chiefs were up and then just down.
Yeah.
So it's 2 different roads to 500. One is just a complete up and down, and the other is just way up and then crash down to the ground.
All right. Next, we have Battle of the Bay, sort of, kind of. Seattle and San Francisco.
Well, Garoppolo should have started this game. I didn't get why he didn't. We talked about that last week, but it still blows my mind this week. I think he came in later in the game this past week. But
okay. What, you mean with only scoring 13 points, they figured that wasn't enough?
Well, when you've got the incomparable CJ Beathard.
Oh, yes. Incomparable.
Incomparable. Truly incomparable.
Incomprehensible.
Yeah, more like it. I still don't get this.
So this is pretty much just an easy win for the Seahawks.
Yeah, even with their decimated secondary.
Free spot on the bingo card.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Congratulations on your jackpot win there, buddy.
You won a free spin. Next, let's look at, pretty much, we had picked this as going to be the game of the week. New Orleans and the Rams.
Credit to both teams. The Rams beat a good team, and the Saints, the Rams moved up and down the field on them, but the Saints are without their top 2 corners, especially Lattimore, who's an outstanding corner. And yeah, sure, they got the ball moved on them, but it wasn't like they gave up 40 and 50 points like the old Saints defenses would. So I know they say there's no moral victories in the NFL, but I think the Rams should be happy with this win, and the Saints should be happy they didn't give up 40 or 50 with the injuries on defense.
Yeah, exactly, because that was, last year?
Yeah,
and
almost earlier this year, too,
and the year before, and the year before.
Before that.
So, yeah, it's true. They would give up like 38, 40 points even when they did win.
And when their team was healthy on defense.
Yeah.
So this is an upgrade, yeah.
Yeah, this definitely lives up to its billing. It was a good game, good competitive game.
Mm-hmm.
And the Rams, we were mentioning last week that the Rams were 2-3 this year against good teams. So now
500.
So looking good. Next, Jacksonville and Arizona. You had some issues with some coaching decisions.
Yeah, late in the game, there was some plays where they should have run the ball and they left it in the hands of Bortles. I made the case last week, I think Jacksonville can win with Bortles. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's because of Bortles, but man, you don't want to leave games in his hands if you could avoid it. I think he's still getting over the confidence thing in that. You have this great running game. You've invested in it. Pound the rock late.
Yep.
I mean, if there's times you have to get him to throw the ball, fine. But if it's not necessary, don't do it.
What happened with the...
Leave it to your defense.
That's the thing. What happened to the Jaguar defense? They gave up 27 points in this one to what should be the lowly Cardinals.
Blaine Gabbert, yeah.
Yeah, how did that happen?
Didn't see it. My guess is they probably went all in and stopped an AP, though. But I'm still surprised that happened.
Yeah.
And I even wonder, and I can't say this for sure, I wonder if this type of game, because Arizona not having that great a year, Jacksonville's still a young team, and they've been on a winning streak. Wonder if this is the type of game they just wonder if they could show up and win. Because they've kind of been skating by pretty close for a while now.
Right. So this is a case where you figured Jacksonville, young team, they're just due for a letdown.
Yeah, young team due for a letdown, and yeah, they got to stop leaving the... Because that's 2 weeks in a row when they probably went to Bortles when they should have been running the ball. Shake themselves out of that as well.
Okay. Next we have, of course, fight of the night, Denver and Oakland. What do you think about this game? Pretty boring game, I heard.
The fighting might have been better. Crabtree and Talib dancing once again. They didn't even dance last year because Crabtree just let him steal the chain. This year, Crabtree actually fought back. Usually, so what are we doing? Are we coming back to this later, or are we just gonna duke it out about these two?
No, we'll come back to it later. That'll be our fight of the night.
Yeah, okay. Because that's the main part of this game. Everything else is just Raiders get their first interception of the year.
Yeah, and I saw that interception.
I heard about it. Yeah, a guy just pretty much fell in their lap, which is the only way they were picking off a pass going on.
Well, not only did it fall in their lap, so Simeon makes the pass. It hits his receiver. Well, his receiver, I forget who it was. His receiver and the defender, they're both fighting for the ball. Hit those guys. Basically hit them both. Ball bounces off those players. There's an Oakland player lying flat on his back in the end zone.
This is right.
Ball bounces off the receiver and the defender and then just lands on his stomach.
Like he couldn't even mess this up.
Like he had no choice but to catch it. It literally fell on him. It was... I don't think I've ever seen an interception like that.
Well, take that first interception any way they can.
The guy was just there taking a nap, and all of a sudden he's awoken by this interception. The game also featured new coordinators on both sides.
Yeah, it's still hard to judge because they're against each other, so we'll have to see them this upcoming week against different competition. See how they fare. Well,
it did give Oakland at least some breathing room, a little bit of life.
Yeah, game behind the Chefs.
All right.
Still in it in the group of disappointment.
And speaking of disappointment, we have Green Bay in our last game we're going to review. Green Bay and Pittsburgh. Steelers won 31-28.
Steelers play down to their opposition yet again. Have a theory on this one, too.
Right.
Talking about this on Football Night of America in America. There's an interview with Tomlin. He was admitting to looking at the Patriots in 3 weeks. Rodney Harrison and Tony Dungy discussed this. Tony Dungy admitted, he used to look ahead to the Patriots. Rodney Harrison, but did you ever admit it and come out and say it? And then talked about when he played for Belichick, they only looked at the next week. Tomlin's a very good coach, but I wonder, if he's focusing on New England, everyone notices it. The team usually follows the personality of their coach. So if he's looking at New England, is everyone else looking at New England?
Right.
It's like, Hundley's coming to town, this young kid, whatever. The thing the Steelers need, and there's just been too many of these things, so too many of these games with the Steelers playing down to their opposition. So I wonder if they look ahead at other games too much. And I understand the importance of the New England game, but if they lose one of these other games before that to a team they shouldn't, then the New England game doesn't really mean as much. So they need to focus on week to week.
Yeah, so maybe this will be one of those games that kind of slaps them out of this, arrogance of looking ahead to next week type or next month type thing.
No, they've been doing it for so long. If they haven't been over it by now, I don't think they'll be over it.
All right. Well, it'll be interesting to track how Pittsburgh moves on from this. And that's our review of Week 12. Next, we'll look at we're going to preview Week 13 games. So we have a few games here that we want to talk about for this upcoming weekend. Number one, as always, it's number one on your sheet, number one in your hearts. The Thursday night football game.
Oh, this should be a vintage Thursday night football game.
Washington-Dallas divisional rivalry, ancient rivalry. This goes back to the times of the Roman Empire.
I usually look forward to Washington-Dallas.
Or not.
Not so much this week. Now, one good thing about this Thursday night is that they're actually both playing on a full week's rest. They both played on Thanksgiving.
Right.
And my big pet peeve with Thursday is the 4-day layoffs. So I can't, it's not my usual Thursday night complaint, but luck of the draw, Dallas with their injuries, and Washington to me kind of plays their opposition. They play the really good teams like they can beat them or threaten to beat them. Mm-hmm. They don't look as good when they play some of these weak teams.
So that 20-10 decisive victory against the Giants last week didn't really do it for you?
Well, they won, and I could see them winning this game, but I just don't see it being an exciting win.
Will Cowboys score more than 6 points?
Oh, that's a good question. You never know what you're getting from the Washington defense week after week.
Like a box of chocolates.
Yeah. Oh, that line always bugged me. Oh, man. There's a map at the bottom of the box.
Next, we have
Read the map. Get off my bench.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
Punkcast.
Minnesota and Atlanta. This should be a good, solid barn burner of a game. You say you think that the over is looking pretty good.
Yeah, I noticed the Vikings play high-scoring games on the road, and Atlanta seems to be scoring again. I kind of like the Vikings, so this could go either way. I just think it's worth taking a shot on the Vikings. But like I said, I'd have no issue with anyone taking Atlanta. But I love the over in this game. Love the over.
Yep, makes sense. Keenan and Ryan, they have both been putting up crazy points lately.
And as great as the Vikings defense is, they're not great on the road. They're just good. They tend to give up points on the road.
Nice. How about the Chefs? They're going to play in New Jersey against the Jets.
Man, I don't know how to look at this because every time I take the Jets to win one of these games, they lose it late. This should be a good close game. The Chiefs just... I don't know what's up with these clowns right now. Well, I know why they're having some of their problems, but I still can't explain why they're in such a huge, epic losing streak. They shouldn't be that bad.
Yeah. So here's the question. If the Jets pull this out and win, is that the end for Alex Smith?
It's a good question.
Will he be replaced after this game if he does not win?
Well, it was around this time of year a few years ago when... Reed bench McNabb for Kevin Cobb. Does he do that again? Or does he feel Mahomes isn't ready because he was pretty raw coming out?
Yeah.
And that's a good question. I have no idea what Andy Reid's thinking, but I'm kind of curious.
Okay, that's one to watch. One maybe not to watch is Denver and Miami.
Though I like Denver here. I like to see what Musgrave does as coordinator with Simeon for a whole game.
Okay.
I mean, Simeon's not all that, but with Musgrave calling the plays, maybe there's a hope. I mean,
yeah.
I think with the Packers, a lot of people are going to buy into them because they played Pittsburgh close.
Yeah.
But I still say that'll be over. I think that's overreaction to Pittsburgh playing down to their opposition.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking of the Packers, yeah, they're fighting Tampa Bay. So you figure that the...
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to remember. Who is Denver at again?
Miami.
Okay, Miami, yeah.
Yeah.
I think less of Miami than I do the Packers. The Packers at least have a chance every week.
Well, I don't even acknowledge Miami.
Yeah, no, I was pretty much right to start thinking about the next game.
No, it's...
I was pretty much right to pull a Pittsburgh there.
Oh, yeah. No,
I was just looking ahead.
We're on to Green Bay.
Yeah, we're on the Green Bay and Tampa Bay, the Bay of Pigs battle.
So you think the Tampa Bay, the Pirates, will plunder the Packers?
I like the Bucs' chances. I guess we see what we get from Hundley this week. It could go either way. I'm an idiot for. I want to see what the odds are. I might take a shot in Tampa Bay, but that could be foolish on my part. But yeah.
We have Tampa 4-7.
It's
Packers
a game that doesn't matter. So
if
it's a game that doesn't matter. So Fitzpatrick might play all right.
Oh, there's a statement on that boy's career.
Yeah. If it doesn't matter, he can play well.
High praise.
Just an outright backhanded compliment with a loaded glove.
Well, speaking of backhanded compliments, that's been the entire Cleveland Browns season.
Compliments for everyone who got them on their schedule.
Yeah, pretty much. Everybody says thank you, and thank you.
And I thank you all for doing your part to try to get this Browns 0-16 for me.
Absolutely. Not only does Christmas comes early for the LA Chargers, but maybe also for your perfect season bet.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers to cover the 13.5. The spread could go up. I'll still take it, even if it goes up to 14.5.
I totally agree. I think no matter what the spread is, just take the Chargers, like blindly.
Yeah,
I don't think it even matters.
The Browns don't just lose; they don't even cover spreads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just say there was some. Is it like all season they haven't covered a single spread?
They've barely covered any, maybe one or two, if that.
Yeah, so
they rarely cover spreads.
Yeah, so fear not the spreads, kids. Whatever the spread is, just take the Chargers.
Yeah.
Speaking of covering spreads, we have the Giants against your Oakland Raiders. In Geno we trust.
You like bench for Geno Smith? I don't get this. What,
the fact that a two-time Super Bowl champion got benched for Geno Smith was thrown out of the New York Jets when they're supposed to be rebuilding?
When they didn't even have a quarterback at the time? Now he's going to be the answer for a two-time Super Bowl champ?
That's the genius of
Ben McAdoo.
McAdoo.
You know, here's the thing. They have
the world doesn't always understand genius.
And we don't understand McAdoo either.
I think he might be just too advanced for us.
Oh, man. He's too smart for this game. They have Davis Webb, their third-string quarterback. Now, I don't know much about Webb, but he's the guy I'd want to see because you haven't seen him play.
Right.
You want to see what you have.
Yeah.
You know what you have with Geno Smith.
Yeah.
10 pounds of monkey crap in a 5-pound bag. That's what you have with Geno Smith. Yeah, bench man. I still say, everyone talks about what Manning's done. I still say that's a result of the Giants around him.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that's Manning.
Well, I've always been a Manning fan. I think he's still an excellent quarterback, an elite quarterback. Literally he could be a starter for half the teams in this league right now. So in this one, I think Raiders, again, no matter the spread, I think they'll cover it.
Yeah, someone else has come up with a quote, but Don Cherry says a lot. I'm trying to remember it correctly. But how can you fly with the birds when you're surrounded by turkeys?
There you go. Yeah. How can you soar like an eagle if you're flying surrounded by turkeys?
Turkeys, that's it, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, should be a easy game for Oakland.
Oh, man. Yeah, I still worry about the Raiders making it easy. But and we'll see if Crabtree's suspended or not. He's got 2 games he's going to appeal, and if Cooper is in concussion protocol.
Well,
though that might be a blessing in disguise because maybe finally they'll pound Marshawn Lynch.
Yep. Pound Marshawn Lynch, and who knows, there might be some diamonds in the rough just waiting on the Oakland bench at receiver.
Well, they have Cook, who's been good at tight end. They have Wolford, who had a great year at tight end last year, a pretty good year, and they haven't used him this year. Seth Roberts played well last year. He's been like on a milk carton, so maybe Carr finds Roberts and Wolford again if they go to 2 tight end sets.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There you go. Next, we move on to what we think will be the game of the week. Carolina and New Orleans Saints.
Man, this will be a good one. If the Saints get their corners back, I kind of like them. But, man, these are 2 really hot teams right now.
It almost seems like the teams can almost match each other on both sides of the ball. Good defense,
Panthers
good
defense
offenses.
playing outstanding. Saints defense playing well, especially if those corners are there. Breeze in the running game, and Carolina's offense been doing enough to move the ball and running it a bit better than they did early in the year.
Running game, Saints, Panthers?
Saints.
That's what I thought.
But I think the Panthers defend the run better.
Okay.
So it evens out.
Okay. Interesting. So, yeah. So then this is a matchup literally of just even across the board.
Yeah. Might come down to special teams as well.
4:25 Eastern on Sunday afternoon. Don't you dare miss it.
Yeah.
And the last game is the Battle of the Birds, Philadelphia and Seattle.
Love the Eagles to cover in Seattle.
No matter what.
Yeah, if the Legion Boom was there in their entirety, this would be questioning this. You can't write off Russell Wilson, I guess. Never underestimate him, but I like the Eagles.
Excellent. So that is our review or our preview for Week 13 of the NFL. Next, we have our fight of the night. As we, you better believe it, as we teased before, it'll be a battle of Talib versus Crabtree all over again. Except this time it'll be us fighting.
Oh, man.
Who do we think won this fight? Bodies.
It's about time Crabtree took that punk to the woodshed where he belonged.
And we know what side you're on.
Oh, take him to the woodshed.
Yeah.
You know, last year when Talib ripped his chain off, I was more mad that Crabtree didn't fight back. I know you don't want to take the penalty or anything, but it's almost like it ripped the fight out of Oakland. He didn't do anything. This year, Crabtree actually taped the chain to him, and Talib ripped it off again. And Crabtree carried it off to the sideline. They started scrapping. The other amusing thing, because I showed you this clip earlier of Harris, the other corner in Denver, talking about how Crabtree sucker punched him earlier in the game. And it looked like a push-off.
Oh, you mean the sucker push of the game?
The sucker push. So man up, take your medicine. You're the defender. You're supposed to be the physically aggressive one. He punched me. It was like a shove to the chest. Man up, show some fight, show some backbone. Don't just whine off. And as for Talib, yeah, he wanted to take it to the streets, and the streets got taken to him.
Love it. All right.
Leave my chain alone. Get off me, man. Get off me.
That's my chain. Give me back my chain. Give me that chain. I'm going to take that chain from you. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And that's exactly what Talib did. Because I'm taking the side of Talib. Because what did he do? He made a statement.
Yeah, he's a punk.
He made a statement against a struggling opponent. Just like a tiger or a lion, when they see a wounded animal, they see a gazelle, a zebra, it's sitting there bleeding. Does the tiger pass by and the lion pass by? Oh, poor zebra, I will find help. No! He chomps down on that neck and he finishes off that zebra. Lunch. Beautiful. And that's what Talib saw in not only Oakland, but also Crabtree. He saw a weak opponent that he could bully, and he saw a team that he could bully and intimidate, and at the same time giving his struggling team the lift that they so desperately need
to continue and lose the game and continue a bigger losing streak than Oakland's on. So he went looking for someone wounded while he was roaming around with two broken legs, and then he got his ass handed him without the convenience of a platter.
The fact that his teammates could not pick up on the wounded animal that he provided for them is the sad state of the Denver Broncos this year.
Well, I mean, he tried to provide, but he's limping along with his beat-down ass.
He tried to be the provider. He brought the meat.
He was provided with a beating, and his soul was crushed.
But he left the game with some gold in his hand.
The only gold he's going to see this year.
Which now he'll have to give back in the form of a massive NFL fine.
That's right.
Talib!
He got taken to the streets, and the streets taken to him.
So that is our fight of the night, Talib versus Crabtree. You can vote on who you think won this bout. It's my chain.
Oh, no. Crabtree took him out, man. I'm sick of that. It was just like, somebody get some help out here. It's a brawl.
Someone get some control in here.
Pandemonium running wild.
Not even the fight of the night this week can be controlled. But that is the fight of the night this week. Next, we will be looking for a fight of another kind, further up north. but with weather just as cold. The 2017 Grey Cup was this past weekend, and that featured the surprising Toronto Argonauts against the Calgary Stampeders. Calgary going into this game as, was 7-point favorites?
Yes.
Yeah. 7-point favorites, sporting another massive record. They were, 15-3, or 14-4, actually, I think they finished with.
Yeah, I think that sounds more right.
Yeah, 14-4, following a 15-3 season last season. 2 times in a row in the Grey Cup, everything going for them, and what happens?
Interception!
And Argonauts win.
Yes. I was thinking what led up to it at the end, though. Yeah, it's 2 straight years losing as a touchdown favorite.
That's yeah, exactly. If
weren't they 7 points the year before against Ottawa?
Oh, at least,
yeah,
at least if not more, actually. Because last year, just like this year, heavy favorites, and in the end, it was a 27-24 win by the Toronto Argonauts, your 2017 Grey Cup champions. And going into this game, we had basically said that this was really going to be a battle of, we thought really the big 2 matches, Toronto's offense versus Calgary's defense. Because overall, that were like the 2 strengths of the strengths of the 2 teams. And oddly enough, the Calgary defense, they played decently well in that they shut down the rushing game. They definitely focused on that, and it worked. Because Toronto got a grand total of 16 yards of rushing.
Their ground game got grounded.
Exactly. So you can't fault Calgary's rush defense. They did exactly what they're supposed to do. Unfortunately, Ricky Ray still pulled up 297 yards of passing. On the other side, Bo Levi Mitchell got 373 yards of passing. So he didn't necessarily struggle either.
No.
So both offenses went at her. It was a good, hard-fought game. But in the end, a costly turnover by Calgary. Game was, they were down by 3 points.
Ironically, the Toronto defense wins it, though it was more a mistake by Mitchell throwing the double coverage.
Yeah, and especially since they were in field goal range, like well within field goal range. So potential to tie the game with 30 seconds left. Send it into overtime, and instead, Bo Levi obviously, almost seemed like he wanted to prove something.
Yeah, it's a very uncharacteristic mistake for him.
Yeah, especially for a guy who just touchdown to interception ratio is like off the charts. This to me it just seemed like he was looking to prove something, like he could win the big game, and he didn't want to just do the safe thing and get the field goal. He wanted to get out there and get the win.
To put this in good perspective for someone who watches NFL and doesn't know much about CFL, Bo Levi Mitchell, the touchdown interception ratio, that'd be like a Brady or Rodgers throwing that interception in that
in the Super Bowl.
In Super Bowl.
Yep.
In the double coverage. You just would never think it would happen.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it was. He forced one in, there was double coverage. Argos picked it off, and then that was it. They just, with under less than 30 seconds left, they just ran the clock out. And our Toronto Argonauts, a team that at the beginning of the season had no GM, had no coach, barely had a coaching staff. They missed out on free agency completely because they had no coach and GM in place in time for free. They missed the entire free agent window. So they missed all of it, and players, I think they gutted like almost half the team. So really, this is a franchise that came in with Ricky Ray. That's the only real name player here.
But that says something for the way Jim Pop builds teams and Mark Trestman coaches them up here.
Yeah,
because they both had immense success in Montreal.
And that's the thing, Jim Pop, after being let go by Montreal last season.
How'd that work out for them?
Oh, Montreal dead last, horrifying record. But Montreal did give Jim Pop one last parting gift, though, because in the preseason, for whatever reason, they let go all-star linebacker Bear Woods, just released him out of the blue. Montreal did, and Toronto said thanks.
Well, he wasn't a Cavus Reed type of player because he's a winner.
Yeah, you can't have those.
You can't have those on a Cavus Reed team.
So yeah, this Argonauts win is more amazing by the fact that this is literally a team that was completely rebuilt this season, and somehow they went from 0 to winning the entire championship in 1 year. Meanwhile, there are teams like the Winnipeg Blue Bombers who've been trying this
for 27 years?
27 years, and they still haven't figured out how to build a championship team. So much pain. But congratulations, Toronto.
I'm going to put this in perspective now. Bombers 27 years in a league that has 8 or 9 teams, depending on the year. Mm-hmm. This is almost like the same proportions as the Rangers when they went 40 years without a Stanley Cup. Because a lot of those years were with like 17, 21, 30 teams in that.
Yeah. And like I say, this would almost, given that there's only, 8.5 teams in the CFL.
Yeah, you're saying like Cubs, Red Sox proportions.
Almost like Cubs and Red Sox proportions.
No, I'd agree with that.
If you expand the number of teams in baseball and teams of football, we're talking like it's been already almost 3 decades, but really if you look at it in the context of a 30-team league, we're talking like centuries all of a sudden of futility.
It's weird with the Bombers. It's been such a weird history because in the 50s, they were the dominant team in the league. And then from 64 to 84, I believe, there's a 20-year drought. Then they they had like 3 Grey Cups within a few years.
Yep.
And now 27 years.
Frustrating to everyone who cheers for the Bombers. But if you're an Argos fan, you are one happy clam today. The other people that are pretty happy is CFL, CFL management, tall foreheads in Toronto, because the Grey Cup viewership had a 10% increase this year over last year.
Fantastic.
So every year, more and more people tune into the Grey Cup.
It's good for the league and good for business.
That is the 2017 Grey Cup. Argos win. Always the question is, will this be the thing that will get the fans finally behind them? Because Toronto Argonauts fans have been kind of like lukewarm.
Yeah, and this team should be good for years. So if this doesn't do it, I don't know if anything ever will.
Yeah.
Because one of the criticisms was how the Rogers Center is just kind of a sterile place. Now they have BMO Field, but they didn't have success at first at BMO Field. We will see next year because they have a great atmosphere at BMO, or what should be a great atmosphere.
Yeah, they do.
And they have a championship. So if they don't come out supporting the team strong early, I'm just thinking it's never really going to catch on in Toronto.
Yeah.
And with Trustman and Ray in that, they should contend again.
Yeah, that's the frightening thing. They literally have great people at the top basically building this team.
GM, coach, and quarterback.
Yeah, that should ensure that this team is going to be successful for a while. All right. Well, that is our look at the 2017 Grey Cup and the CFL season. Next, continuing the football theme, we look at some Major League Soccer.
We're going to the pitch.
Hey, we're going to the pitch. That's right. Playoffs are ongoing. And we're in the semifinals, or the conference championships, however you like to think of them. In the Western Conference, we have Seattle Sounders fighting the Houston Dynamo. And in the East, we have Toronto FC fighting the Columbus Crew.
It sounds like the Sounders are soundly handling Houston.
Did they ever? They went into Houston and laid a 2-0 beatdown on the Dynamo, I think effectively ending any chance of another Houston championship this year. Because going into Seattle, into that madhouse of noise and just outright fan insanity, I don't know how any team can possibly win there as a visiting team, and especially in a playoff game.
And have to win by that much.
Yeah, and Dynamo have got to get 2 goals just to tie this whole thing up. 3 if they actually want to win it. So yeah, I don't see it happening. I think Seattle has got this thing. And oddly enough, actually, in this game, Will Bruin, who scored for Seattle, scored against his old team because he actually got signed by Seattle just this very first season, scored against his old team of the Dynamo, who he played for 6 years. So not bad. Dynamo, maybe you shouldn't have let him go.
Nope.
So that's that game. So Seattle looking good in that one. And the other one, Toronto against the Columbus Crew, have been kind of like the Cinderella story of this playoffs. The team whose owner is threatening to move right in the middle of the playoffs even. Better give me a new stadium or I'm going to move.
That's not a good look if they wind up winning the championship and they're threatening to move.
That'd be pretty bad if they're having the team parade as the moving trucks are falling.
Well, I'm wondering, like, you just have the parade on the moving trucks as you're going to the next town you're leaving
so long, suckers.
Instead of floats, it's just like a float that nobody's on top of, like, the moving truck.
Oh, what a horrible thought.
Thanks for your support at the back of the last truck.
Yeah, no kidding. See you in San Antonio.
Is that where they're talking about going, or is that one of the places?
That's one of the places that's rumored to, if not go there, at least get an MLS franchise. Because, yeah, the MLS constantly growing more. There's a number of cities applying for teams every single year. So, yeah, it's a beautiful thing for soccer fans.
Maybe not so beautiful for Columbus, though.
Yeah, hopefully Columbus can get that whole thing sorted out.
Hope so.
And, because, they're one of the original teams in the MLS, actually, from when it started back in the late 90s.
And it sounds like a successful franchise and the fans show up.
And they have been a successful franchise. And, yeah, and they've been making a thoroughly unexpected playoff run, beating Atlanta United in Atlanta for the one-game playoff game in the very first round. That was a shocking result. And then going up against really the millionaire team in New York City FC, that they have splashed the cash to bring in all kinds of like European stars. Didn't matter. Columbus beat them anyway. And in game one in Columbus, it was a 0-0 tie between the Crew and FC. And in that one, Toronto played just a match perfect away game. It may not be the most joyous thing for the casual fan to watch, but as far as like just pure soccer tactics, like Toronto was spot on. It's like watching an NFL team play a perfect defensive game, kind of like Baltimore when they won their very first Super Bowl.
Yes.
With what's his name, a quarterback, the announcer
Trent
guy.
Dilfer.
Yeah, him. So there's an example. In that game, Baltimore played perfect defense, and that defense won them a Super Bowl. And that's what Toronto did in Columbus. They just played a perfect defensive game. Their whole goal was literally to not allow a goal. If they could get a counterattack goal, that'd be great. But job number one is do not suffer not one single goal.
Goal accomplished.
Goal accomplished. So now they got the second leg this week in Toronto. Toronto is getting back two of their stars, Jose Altidore at striker and Sebastian Giovinco.
After the whole brawl in New York, what is this time of year anyway? Is that in the Crabtree Talib brawl?
Yeah. Like
everyone's throwing down before the holidays.
Yeah, maybe it's get one last fight in before Thanksgiving, maybe, so you can fill up then. I don't know. I don't know what it was in. But yeah, having those two stars back in the lineup should give Toronto FC the boost they need to get through Columbus. Should. But
nothing's guaranteed.
Don't count out Columbus. All it takes is one away goal, and Toronto is suddenly in a world of hurt.
Because that one away goal, Toronto would have to get the two to win.
Yep, exactly. But if things go the way we foresee, it'll be another Toronto-Seattle final.
Interesting.
2 years in a row. Seattle won it last year. This year?
Could Toronto win it this year?
I think Toronto will win it this year.
But first, Toronto has to get by Columbus.
First, you got to get there. And that is our review of the MLS Playoffs. And lastly, we come to the epic and suck of the week. The one moment we thought was epic, and the one moment this week we thought sucked. So, for our epic of the week, we actually have a special tag team edition.
Yes.
We both like this topic.
Well, actually, we both like this, but then I changed my epic because there was the Alabama basketball.
Baha. So yeah, that's true. So
But I do agree with your epic like, because I do like it a lot myself. But yeah.
all right. Well, let's have your epic. Yeah, Bama ball.
So on the weekend, Alabama was playing Minnesota in the final of some college basketball tournament in Brooklyn. And with about 13 minutes, there was a brawl near the Alabama bench. So the whole Alabama bench was eliminated. They were kicked out of the game, ejected. They're down by 13 points. So then, it's 11 or 13. It was double digits anyways. Then, a couple minutes after that, one of their players who had 4 fouls gets ejected out. So now they're playing 5-on-4 because there's no one on the bench to replace him. A minute after that, another player injures himself. They're down 5-on-3 to Minnesota in basketball. Not hockey, down 5-on-3. They came from 11 down and lost only by 4 and nearly won the game in the last 11 minutes. Well, I think it was 13. Anyways, it was double digits and for 11 minutes. Played 2 men short and nearly came back and won the game. Actually, outplayed Minnesota while 2 men short. My epic like, even though they lost the game, hats off to Alabama for the hustle and the way they played.
Well done.
You'd probably say epic dislike to Minnesota for the way they played, but you still got to give Alabama their credit.
Yeah, whoever those 3 players are, they should be the starting 3 for every game forever and ever.
They should, yeah. No matter what.
No matter what. Excellent. Well, my epic of the week is, the CFL moving the season 1 month early. That is a thought that Commissioner Ambrosi made this week. Well, what was his first name again?
Randy.
Why do I keep forgetting his name? Randy Ambrosi, that's it. Must be the concussion stuff.
Don't worry. Well, I'll get to that. Don't worry. Like you say, we don't let facts get in the way here.
But yeah, CFL Commissioner Randy Ambrosi, he's already made a few changes this year, even mid-season. So he's not afraid to make changes, drastic changes to the league if he sees that something isn't working. An example for this past CFL season is coaches started with two challenges and even potentially 3 during the game, and people complained that the games were just taking way too long. There's too many stoppages because coaches were actually using challenges as tactical timeouts. Mm-hmm. So not even so much as a challenge. And that was doing a lot of time wasting. And yeah, Ambrosi saw that that's what it was. So he said, you know what? Forget this. In mid-season, went from 3 challenges to 1. So again, this man is not afraid to make changes. And yeah, with this one, it's a thought that's been out there is moving the CFL season back a month. So it could start basically in preseason in May and start the regular season in June rather than the current where you're really starting in July and you have your Grey Cup at the end of November, where for certain cities it's potentially extremely cold at the end of November. And although the snow games are quite fun, sitting out in minus 40 degrees, that's both Celsius and Fahrenheit. They're the same temperature.
Because they could hit that Winnipeg, Regina, or Edmonton.
Oh, absolutely. With a wind chill, these are not out of the possibility.
And if you're coming from places like BC or Toronto that don't get that cold, it deters people from wanting to go to those Grey Cups, I would think.
Yeah, you're not overly inspired. So, yeah, having the season up a month, it just makes sense to me, given the fact that there's really nothing going on that's even really competing in the month of June either. In May, you have the Stanley Cup playoffs and the NBA playoffs, but really, by the end of May, does anybody care about these anymore? No. The finals, who's watching?
People in the whole cities are going for it, basically.
Yeah, the fans that are in the final, those are the ones that care. By that time, everybody else is kind of tired. Yeah. They just want summer to come on.
Well, I know myself, especially for hockey, I'm looking out my window, I'm seeing these nice summer days, and I'm looking, it's like, I don't know why I'm watching hockey right now. I could be outside enjoying summer instead of looking at the remnants of winter.
Exactly. The only ice I want to see in the summer is in my drink.
Yeah, got that right.
So, yeah, and the added benefit of potentially moving the season up a month is that the NFL Network, there's been talks that the NFL Network wants more content, especially in the summer months when not much is happening in football land. And given that the CFL is a summer league, the potential to have some CFL games on the NFL Network would, A, give the CFL tremendous exposure in the U.S. This is always a beautiful thing. And two, it would also give the NFL Network some actually quality football programming to put on their network. So,
because even in August, CFL football's better than preseason NFL.
Oh, you can't watch preseason NFL. That's cruel. Yeah, that's like interrogation stuff there that you use. You shouldn't do it. So CFL.
Watch the fourth stringers. I'll tell you anything.
Anything you watch, just don't make me watch that. Or any Cleveland football game.
Bad enough in the regular season.
So yeah, CFL moving the season up 1 month. That is my epic of the week. You have a suck.
Oh, I have an epic suck. I agree with you. I like a lot of what Randy Ambrosie's done as the CFL commissioner, but he pulled an epic suck in the last week. Another one of these clowns, along with what we've heard in the NHL recently, he doesn't think there's enough scientific evidence to conclusively prove that concussions and CTEs are linked. Even the NFL, which has some pretty questionable concussion protocol and is stonewall concussion research, you could say, they've even admitted at this point. But no, he doesn't feel there's enough evidence to link the two. I don't know what this is, but there's something, because the NFL has a problem with this, but it certainly appears like I know there's a lot of American back teams in NHL, but it seems like the Canadian heavy sports get away with this, and no one really questions it up here as much.
Interesting. Yeah, it's true. NHL and CFL they both get more of a free pass in the whole concussion thing.
Yeah. If the NFL tried this, can you imagine that would hit the fan?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Is it like Canadians are too nice to concuss each other? Is that what's going on here?
I don't know if it's like, we can do no wrong. No, we can blow it up under the rug. No, we don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could go into again, but we went in a couple of weeks ago, our thoughts on NHL and concussions and stuff like that.
Yep.
And it looks like the CFL might not be much better.
All right, yeah, that's a legitimate point, and yeah, the complete refusal to acknowledge concussions in football seems insane, actually.
Yeah, it's connected to CTE.
Yeah.
I'm not a scientist, nor do I play one on TV, but I'm pretty sure about this.
Did you stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night?
Well, I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express, and I stayed away from flat earthers while I was at it.
Very good, very good. All right, for my suck, I will take you to the wild, wonderful world of wrestling.
And just before you say that about flat earthers, what are you people trying to tell me I live on a pizza? Get out of here, man.
Pizza surrounded by ice. So for my suck of the week, one of my favorite wrestlers that I think is getting massively underused and underappreciated is none other than Dana Brooks herself. Villain wrestler and currently on WWE Raw show. Yet the only time, we don't see her very often, and when we do see her, it's usually to get beaten up by some contender in the women's division.
You actually made up for the air quotes in your voice there. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you.
That's a talent. Even though I visually seen the air quotes here, like you can even pick up on it, I'm sure, on audio only.
Well, I hope you feel my offense, because this is literally one of the best, like physically gifted wrestlers that the WWE has right now in like either the men's or women's division. And there are some excellent wrestlers coming up from NXT. And in the women's division, it's stacked. It's a pretty stacked division. For anybody watching NXT, yeah, they've got great wrestlers there, both men and women. But Dana Brooks, I mean, she has paid her dues here. Like, she has been in NXT spent 3 years in NXT, got the call to the WWE in late 2016. She's been in there for about a year, but really hasn't really gotten any kind of a shot. She's either been part of an all-girls group, or she's been in there to put over some newbie. And last week's episode of Raw, she went up against Asuka. And although I'm a huge fan of Asuka, I think she's the best women's wrestler anywhere right now. Still, Dana Brooks She's like literally strong. Like not only does she portray that in her in-ring persona by like flexing constantly, which is great, but
earning approval points from the mind.
Absolutely. If you got muscles, ladies with muscles, it's a beautiful thing. And yeah, not only is she like shows it on TV, but she's actually proven it by being in multiple Arnold competitions, Arnold Classics for people in bodybuilding. That is literally that and the Olympia are like the two granddaddy of all bodybuilding competitions, the Arnold Classic. She has participated in 3 of them. The last one was actually this year where she finished 5th. So she's legitimately strong. And if you watch her ring entrance, you see her doing like that flip. I don't even know how you call that. It's like
I've heard the term for it just recently too.
Literally just a forward standing flip. Like it's incredible. Like so she's got the athleticism, she's got the strength, and I think she's got the great attitude to be a good villain. So why she's not getting a push is beyond me. So WWE misusing Dana Brooke, that is my suck of the week.
I have a question which might lead to a theory on this. She's not on Total Divas, is she?
I don't know. I don't know if she is.
I wonder if some women...
Can't recall seeing her on any promos for Total Divas. No.
I wonder if they're sometimes more inclined to push someone who's on Total Divas.
That is true. That is true, because Natalya Neidhart, for a while there, her career was floundering a little bit, even though, as a wrestler, again, she's like top 5.
Oh, easily.
Like just pure wrestling skill. But yeah, it's true. It is funny you point that out, because yeah, since she's got more of a bigger role in Total Divas, oddly enough, her pro career has also
accelerated.
Yeah, accelerated and risen. So yeah, maybe there is this.
I don't know if there's something there, but I kind of wonder.
Might need to do some study here and see the correlation between Total Divas and women's wrestling rankings. I like it. So, that is another episode of our show. Body, thanks again for another great episode.
It's been awesome.
And thank you all again for listening to our show. Please remember to like and subscribe to our channel. We'll be here every week for another episode of the Body and Mind Sports Show.